type of person that never like really settles with somebody. Maybe he's like a, he's like a bee going from flower to flower to flower.
The recent speculation involving Jennifer Hudson and Common did not begin with confirmed information or public statements. It began with absence, fewer appearances, limited commentary, and a noticeable quiet from two public figures who have consistently chosen discretion over exposure. In that vacuum, online speculation developed rapidly, transforming ordinary privacy into a narrative of assumed secrecy. What followed was not a verified scandal, but a prolonged cycle of rumor driven by interpretation rather than evidence, revealing how easily silence in celebrity culture is misread as concealment rather than intention. Jennifer Hudson exists in a rare category of celebrity. Her public identity is not built on provocation, oversharing, or volatility. It is built on longevity, restraint, and earned respect. As an EGOT winner, her career is defined by discipline rather than spectacle, and her personal life has historically remained insulated from the kind of chaos that often surrounds fame at her level. That insulation, however, became the very condition that allowed speculation to flourish. When Hudson and Common confirmed their relationship publicly in 2024 after years of quiet appearances, denials, and strategic ambiguity, it did not satisfy public curiosity. It legitimized it. The confirmation was interpreted not as a boundary, but as an invitation. Once the relationship crossed into public acknowledgement, the expectation followed that continued access would be granted. When that access was not provided, the audience responded not with patience but with projection. The earliest phase of the rumor cycle was innocuous. It emerged in the lowest layers of online discourse, fan forums, comment threads, speculative TikTok videos. These spaces are not inherently malicious, but they function as incubators. Ideas are tested there, refined through repetition, and emotionally validated long before they reach mainstream visibility. At this stage, the narrative was vague. Jennifer Hudson appeared less visible. Her fashion choices were described as different, and her silence was noted. Visibility is a dangerous currency in celebrity culture. A decrease in appearances is rarely interpreted as rest, discretion, or scheduling. It is interpreted as concealment. Hudson's wardrobe choices, looser silhouettes, layered styling, flowing garments, were treated not as aesthetic preference, but as strategy. The language used to describe them was telling, hiding, covering, masking. These words do not describe clothing, they describe intent. At this point, the speculation could have remained localized. It did not. The silence from Hudson and Common acted as an accelerant. In digital culture, silence is not neutral, it is read as incomplete communication. The absence of denial was treated as implication. The absence of confirmation was treated as suspense. The audience, conditioned by years of celebrity pregnancy reveals and curated announcements, filled the vacuum with expectation. The narrative quickly escalated beyond pregnancy. It expanded into adjacent anxieties. Was there trouble in the relationship? Was there a secret engagement? Was there conflict behind the scenes? These questions did not arise independently. They were structurally linked. In gossip ecosystems, escalation is necessary to maintain relevance. Each theory must raise the stakes of the last. Then came the disruption that transformed speculation into frenzy. Jaguar Wright's live commentary. Wright did not introduce evidence. She introduced tone. Her comments were framed as insight rather than accusation, warning rather than revelation. She spoke of patterns, of red flags, of knowledge gained from experience rather than access. This rhetorical positioning is crucial. By avoiding specificity, she insulated herself from direct refutation while amplifying perceived credibility. She did not say what happened. She implied that she knew what would happen. The power of implication lies in participation. By referencing receipts without revealing them, Wright invited the audience to complete the story themselves. Text messages were mentioned, but not shown. Conversations were referenced, but not quoted. This incompleteness did not weaken the narrative, it strengthened it. Viewers became collaborators, filling in gaps with their own assumptions, fears, and biases. At this stage, the pregnancy narrative receded into the background. The dominant question became the integrity of the relationship itself. Common's romantic history was resurrected, reframed not as context but as evidence. His past relationships with high-profile women were compressed into a single storyline, intensity followed by impermanence. This framing ignored nuance and individual dynamics, but it fit the emotional logic the audience was primed to accept. Jennifer Hudson's response, or lack thereof, became the final axis on which interpretation turned. She did not issue a statement. She did not engage online. She did not deny the claims directly. This refusal was read in two incompatible ways. To supporters, it was strength, a refusal to dignify rumor, a conscious act of self-protection. To skeptics, it was confirmation, the belief that silence signaled truth. Both interpretations were projections. Neither was grounded in fact. What followed was a familiar but revealing phenomenon. The story detached from its subjects and became autonomous. It no longer required new information. It sustained itself through repetition. Reaction videos referenced other reaction videos. Commentary cited commentary. The algorithm rewarded emotional certainty over factual accuracy. The rumor became an object people interacted with, rather than a claim that needed validation. This is where the mechanics of virality become visible. In the absence of confirmation, speculation does not stall, it intensifies. Each repetition increases perceived legitimacy. A theory repeated often enough begins to feel real, not because it is true, but because it is familiar. Meanwhile, factual counterpoints struggled to penetrate the narrative. Hudson and Common were seen together after the rumors peaked. Common gave interviews praising Hudson, describing their relationship as grounding and meaningful. He hinted openly at marriage during appearances on her show.
Jennifer is the person, if I should be married, it will be to Jennifer Kate Hudson.
These moments directly contradicted the idea of crisis, yet they were treated as peripheral rather than central. Resolution is less engaging than tension. Information that closes a loop does not travel as far as information that opens one. The pregnancy claim itself exposes a deeper issue, the persistent policing of women's bodies in public life. Hudson's body became a site of interpretation rather than autonomy. Normal fluctuations, stylistic choices, and periods of rest were treated as clues rather than realities. The female body was once again positioned as a public object to be decoded. This scrutiny is not evenly distributed. Male celebrities who disappear briefly are described as working or resetting. Female celebrities are described as hiding. The burden of explanation remains gendered, and the expectation of disclosure remains asymmetrical. Eventually, the narrative collapsed, not through confrontation, but through attrition. Time passed. The predicted milestones never materialized. There was no announcement, no reveal, no corroboration. Fact-checking outlets addressed the claim directly, stating plainly that Jennifer Hudson was not publicly known to be pregnant. The language was cautious, but the implication was definitive. What remained was not a scandal, but an illustration. Jennifer Hudson was never pregnant. There was no secret breakup, no concealed betrayal, no hidden crisis. There was a period of quiet, interpreted through a cultural lens that treats privacy as provocation and silence as deception. The entire episode demonstrated how partial information, emotional investment, and algorithmic amplification can manufacture a revelation where none exists. Hudson's decision not to engage was not passive, it was strategic. She refused to validate the rumor by denying it, and refused to escalate it by responding. She allowed it to exhaust itself. That choice required patience and confidence, traits rarely rewarded in contemporary media environments. Common mirrored that restraint. He did not issue defensive statements or address implication directly. He continued to speak positively about his relationship when asked in appropriate contexts, grounding the narrative in presence rather than reaction. The absence of spectacle ultimately exposed the fragility of the story itself. Without participation, even the most explosive rumor loses momentum. The scandal was not undone by truth alone. It was undone by indifference to performance. In the end, the most accurate description of the controversy is also the least dramatic. Nothing happened. And yet that nothing revealed a great deal about how modern celebrity culture functions, how silence is punished, how implication replaces proof, and how quickly private individuals become public property once curiosity is activated. Jennifer Hudson's quiet did not hide a secret. It exposed a system,